Last time on Square Roots, two princes at war build monuments to their own glory. A beast in the sewers befriends an orphaned boy. A mother makes an unholy bargain for the life of her child. And it's all so boring. Oh my god.
That was fantastic.
Thank you.
No problem. Hey everyone, and welcome to Square Roots, the classic RPG podcast. With me is the effervescent Matthew Van Zant.
I believe we're the only classic RPG podcast, and probably also
not
the
make that claim.
first RPG podcast.
Also with me is the sparkling Vanessa.
Ooh, my body's getting so hot, you'll burn if you touch me.
Is that sparkling?
Oh, that's what our pal Steve said in this desert level because he's a robot. So the sun made him hot, and he proclaims that if you touch him, you will burn yourself.
The
Interesting.
sun made me hot. And if you
Yeah.
touch me, you'll get burned.
He's too hot. Hot damn.
So hot.
All right. Well, this is going somewhere. So on this RPG, we play a classic RPG. On this podcast, we play a classic RPG, one chunker at a time. And right now, we are on chunker 6 of Rogue Galaxy, but we are definitely sprinting towards that finish line.
Is this the
Thank God.
penultimate episode?
I think it might be, unless we want to save Waterworld for the next one. Then maybe do Waterworld in 11 and then chapter 12. It's up to you.
Are you sure
folks.
there's only 12 chapters? I think there might be 13.
Oh, really?
I think there's 13 as well.
Well, then, this is the penultimate episode.
Yeah.
Jesus, we have 2 more episodes of this crap?
Mm-hmm.
That's
It's
right.
not that much to
Taking us
Waterworld.
all the way through the
Let's
end
just
of
say that.
November.
Waterworld's
Oh.
short.
That's good.
Waterworld's very long, and Kevin Costner does a star-making performance. Except he was already a star, and actually it sort of tanked his career. Tanked like the tanks they used in Waterworld. Get it? Hey.
And what's her face? Who was in The Stand? She was in it.
Julia Louise-Dreyfus.
No. She had a name like Turtle something, or
Lisa Turtle.
Lisa Turtle was in it. Yes. And yeah, I'm not researching that any further. So if you want to go back to the beginning of Rogue Galaxy, if you use iTunes, you can just start at the beginning of the season. Otherwise, check out part 1. But you can also start here because we're talking about all the spoilers and all the plot revelations in this episode.
Listen, if you're curious, if this is your first episode and you're like, should I go back? Yeah, but listen to this episode first, because this one's going to be bonkers, y'all. Poof! Now I'm a centaur!
Yeah, this game goes to Bunkerstown.
Mm-hmm.
Population, probably ghosts.
I don't want to talk about it.
So much ghosts. Does this one also have Desert Eagle? I don't remember where this one ends up. Actually, I need to peruse the notes.
This
before
one ends with Desert Claw revealing a shocking revelation.
The whole thing is shocking revelations from start to finish.
Yes.
All right.
But before
well,
we get into that, Matthew, how did you level up this week?
I got to be honest with y'all. I have not done much with my life lately. I have not done much in the last week, so I will level up my having my mind blown skills. Let me ask y'all a question. Are y'all familiar with a game called Pokemon?
Yes.
Yes.
Are you familiar with a little-known 3DS Pokemon spin-off game called Detective Pikachu?
I am aware of it.
As am I.
Are you aware that, for some reason, Ryan Reynolds is now voicing Pikachu, Detective Pikachu, in a Hollywood film?
So he just says Pika Pika a whole bunch?
He does not. He talks.
Oh!
Is he voiced by Danny DeVito?
He's voiced by Ryan Reynolds. I literally just said it.
Ryan Reynolds as voiced by Danny DeVito.
Right.
Ryan Reynolds voicing Danny DeVito, voicing Detective Pikachu.
Okay.
The trailer for that movie dropped today, and it looks fucking bonkers. Vanessa, I know you saw it. Impression me.
I sure did. I was not interested in this film because I'm not really a Pokemon fan. I play Pokemon Go because it helps me get in my steps. And I love Psyduck because he is the one true and only Pokemon worth discussing. But I am so on board for this movie after seeing this trailer. It looks great.
That is a wildly false claim and a hot take about Psyduck, but what is it about the movie that you think looks so great?
The movie looked like Who Framed Roger Rabbit kind of movie, where you have your humanses and you have your animated characters, and they all exist in the real world. Real world looked good. Actor playing main character looked good. He's a young man whose work I am not familiar with, but he looked good in the trailer. Looked funny. But I think what most convinced me is that you have this talking Pikachu, right?
Yeah.
But only this main kid can understand what the Pikachu is saying. And when other people look at the Pikachu, all they hear is the Pikachu going, Pika, Pika, Pika. And I think that is the best conceit I have ever heard of in a movie ever.
So is Pikachu like a CG cartoon or like a live action weird puppet thing?
Okay. John.
Yeah.
We're going to keep talking about this. You need to pull up your phone, open motherfucking YouTube, John, and
Okay.
watch the trailer for this fucking movie.
Okay.
Vanessa, how do you feel about the aesthetics of the Pokemon in this movie? I know that we saw some Psyduck, and he certainly does not look like the Psyduck that is usually staring back at me when we record these podcast episodes, which is to say, your screen profile picture.
Yes, my screen profile picture, which I put on because I do not want Matt or John to see my face while I'm recording, is a picture of a Psyduck. I think it looks okay. When I first saw them, I thought they looked a little too CGI, but I think I could get used to the aesthetic. I was really excited to see Psyduck so featured in the preview. He appears to be standing next to, perhaps connected with, the main female character of the film. So I hope to see more of him. What do you think about the aesthetic, Matt?
Well, I think it looks absolutely bonkers. Interestingly, which I don't think anybody really expected for a Warner Brothers version of a Pokemon movie, it is just straight up set in Pokemon Land. It's not like some weird America that also happens to have Pokemon, and it's not like Pikachu is going to appear through a portal and just like the Smurfs or whatever. It's not like a secret world. It's just Pokemon World, which is wild to see.
It's super rad. People are walking around with their Pokemons, sort of like it was the Golden Compass world or something. Everyone has a little Pokepal, and they are cute. The world looks cool.
Squirtles.
cast is pretty cool. You got your Suki Waterhouse, Bill Nighy, or Bill Nighy. Is that how you say it?
And listen, now I know that Ryan Reynolds is not everybody's cup of tea, but I love me some Ryan Reynolds. First of all, have you seen that man's bod? Have you ever watched the movie Amityville? Have you watched the Amityville horror with Ryan Reynolds in it?
No. Well, maybe. I don't know.
I will never forget, I was watching that movie with my brother and his girlfriend, and there is a scene in the Amityville reboot from 10 years ago where Ryan Reynolds is outside chopping some wood and taking out his growing insane angriness on, some wood piles or whatever. And my brother's girlfriend turns around and looks at him and says, "You need to start chopping some wood," because he was quite the beefcake.
Oh, gosh. You know what? I just Googled this, and I have not seen Ryan Reynolds in this light before, and it is really forcing me to reconsider my entire Ryan Reynolds. Look at my shoulders, and
she's broken. All right, now we've vamped for a while, so John has returned to give us his Pokemon Detective Pikachu impressions.
How does a body even do that?
I couldn't really watch it with sound on for most of it. Well, it looks all right. I like the look of it. It's kind of creepy, but in a cute way, like Howard the Duck.
It's very uncanny valley, but
yeah,
I don't know that it doesn't work. It works still, I think.
Yeah,
because they're so cute.
I thought you were going to be all excited for the trailer for a certain TV show we both love that will be releasing for Thanksgiving.
I am excited for that. We've got the announcement today as well, and now this is week-old news, so you probably already know it, listeners, but Mystery Science Theater 3000 has a new season that will be coming out on the Thursday of this week that you're listening to this, and we heard... we finally got to see what the movies they're going to riff this time are, and I'm really excited about them doing Mac and Me, because that movie is fucking bonkers.
And they're doing their first Asylum picture.
Yeah, which it must be the most modern picture they've ever done, and I think it's worth a shot. I mean, a lot of people say, oh, I think it works better with older stuff, but I listened to the Flophouse, I listened to How Did This Get Made? They do modern movies, and they riff on them just fine. So I'm not worried about that. Vanessa is just sending us pictures of Ryan Reynolds over and over again. I don't want to go on too long, so oh, Jesus
Vanessa,
Christ.
put it that away.
Sorry.
Vanessa just sent us a gif of Ryan Reynolds shirtless with the note, "There's a mystery he needs to solve."
Yeah, where to find a sandwich that he needs to eat. He's so skinny.
What are you talking about?
Yes.
It's tiny.
And I think it's worth the listeners will enjoy this fun fact that Jim Banks is active in our chat that we're sending the pictures now. So he's just getting pictures of Ryan Reynolds without context.
As he should.
As he should. And hopefully he's enjoying that. We miss you, Jim. Come home.
Anyway, that's how I leveled up, and I'm excited about it, and I hope you are too. And Vanessa, how did you level up?
Well, I learned some new things about Ryan Reynolds this week. I had never, he's a fine actor and can carry a film. No one would doubt that. But I had never really considered myself a particular fan until this week. I came to see him in a new light. I think that he had hidden talents that I had overlooked because he was wearing a shirt. And now my whole perspective has changed. So, Ryan Reynolds, at me.
Ryan Reynolds at me. That's how she leveled up.
Yeah. Let's see. I went for a walk outside. I do not like to go outside because I am a video game girl. But sometimes you have to because it's a great big world out there and there are places to walk in it. So better get on it or else you won't get your steps in. So I went for a walk, like a mini hike. It was like 1.5 miles, something like that. But it had those good trails that I like the very best, which are trails that are not paved. There's rocks and mud and logs and things like that.
Trails in
So
the sky?
you can pretend... no, they were on the ground. Thus the rocks and the mud and the logs and things.
Trails of cold steel?
And no, it was rocks and mud and logs and things. And it's great because you can pretend you're in Skyrim. So then when you get upset that you're outside instead of playing a video game, you can be like, oh, here I am, Skyrimming along on this little trail. I saw the majesty of nature. I saw some ducks getting it on. And that was really upsetting because the male duck, gets on top of the female duck and holds her head underwater and sort of violently ducks at her. And then when they were done, she was like shaking herself and stretching her wings and things like that, trying to get over it. And he started to swim away. And then she swam right after him. And if that isn't a metaphor for an abusive relationship, I don't know what is. Ducks, very upsetting. Don't go outside. Stay inside.
Have you seen
Nature is bad.
Isabella Rossellini's series of short films? I think it's called Green Porno.
Yes.
Do you remember the duck one?
Yes, very well.
I
am not
recommend
a duckologist, but it's my understanding that the male duck has a sort of corkscrew-shaped phallus because the female duck's anatomy has evolved in such a way that it's sort of a difficult maze that the duck has to navigate because female ducks are so anti-procreation with male ducks.
It's true.
Yeah.
Well,
But you gotta get them ducklings somehow.
mm-hmm. Well, I think it's more on the female side that's it can open and close doors if it wants to, basically.
Oh, interesting.
And the males have evolved to bypass her ovum security, basically.
Sort of like a Deus Ex kind of dude.
Yeah, he's sneaking through the air vents.
Mm-hmm. So a duck penis is Jensen from Deus Ex. And a female duck is the level design. Nature. It's not great. It's not as great as Ryan Reynolds, let me tell you that.
But he's part of nature.
Is he? I don't know if what he has going on here is like what I'd call natural. Obviously, some effort was put into that. Perhaps supernatural effort. But is there some sort of makeup contouring going on? Almost definitely. Do I care? Not at all. John, how did you level up?
Well, I have two things, and weirdly enough, they both involve World War II. Thing one, I found out I have a great aunt no one ever told me about. Her name is Maria Ferdk. She is from Poland.
Mm-hmm.
She was born in 1904. She's the younger sister of my grandfather, Wenceslas Chivich.
Good King Wenceslas.
Exactly. My dad changed his last name to Brandon because he wanted something high up in the alphabet so he'd get chosen first, and that sounded English because people in England were super bigoted against the Polish, which is still a thing and has a whole lot to do with the EU right now and Brexit and all that. Anyway, so that's why my last name is Brandon. It is not my real last name.
I think it is your real last name.
Okay, it's my legal last name, but it isn't my actual family last name.
I understand. Many of us had our names changed at Ellis Island or Ellis Island, Canada, whatever that is. Maple Leaf Valley.
So, Maria Ferdk was a Polish social worker. She studied medicine. She became an activist in the Polish underground and worked as an part of the anti-Holocaust resistance in Poland. She saved many, many Jewish people by helping them shuttle from Germany through Poland and out. She risked her own safety for the safety of others, and because she was fairly wealthy, she was from, I guess my side of the family was intellectual and well off, so they had cash and resources to do these things, and were friends with the previous Polish government. And after she did that, she started an initiative in Poland in 1947 called the League for the Struggle Against Racism, which is kind of crazy for something in the 40s. But basically trying to ensure that what happened in the 30s and 40s would never happen again. And it was quickly shut down because the Soviets didn't like it, I guess. She didn't like the Soviets. She was always working against them. And a lot of people claim to have been helpers in the Holocaust, to save people. But she was recognized by the Yad Vashem from Israel as a... the term for it is righteous among the nations, and I don't exactly know what that means. But I think it means like non-Jewish people that helped Jewish people during the Holocaust. So
that is really, really cool, John. Usually when people do Ancestry, they don't find heroes, especially ones so temporally close to you. I think that's really cool, and it's a great family story to be able to have.
Yeah, I'd like to... there's a biography written about her, but it's only in Polish, so I guess I need to learn how to read and understand Polish. And also, in fake, dumb Japanese pretend World War II, I finished the demo for Valkyria Chronicles 4, so I bought the game. And it is
cool.
Pretty awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it might be my favorite game I've bought this year.
Oh.
Wow.
It's much more addictive for me than Octopath Traveler or Dragon Quest XI. I think because I'm playing too many RPGs already, this one's it's more tactical. So it's not really, it doesn't have turn-based menus or anything. And that game is pretty interesting because it has like one of the major characters is a trans woman. It has a lot to do with the Holocaust, although it's fantasy Holocaust, which is always kind of weird.
Yeah.
So it's like this super, especially for Japan, super progressive game. Like, it's super diverse cast of people from, like in Europe, would have been in the 1940s, people from all around the world. A lot of people like to think that Europeans were only white in the 40s and 30s, and this is not true.
Not at all.
And so it has sort of the fictionalized Romani / Jewish people. It's got people from Asia and Africa, or whatever they call them in this game, because all the country names are silly and made up. And
interesting.
Yeah. And so you've got this basically 50-50 split men and women fighting squad. And the women wear normal uniforms except for one girl who wears a skirt, and there's a whole 3-minute upskirt joke.
Oh, no.
Because it's gotta be. And there's a guy who's like grabbing girls' butts, and he gets punched in the face real hard. So at least there is it's not like this is a good thing to do.
Right.
It's more of this guy's a jerk and gets his nose broken for trying to be a jerk.
How does it handle the transgender character?
Really well so far.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like there's no even it doesn't even do the BioWare thing of like her coming up and being like, my name used to be Steven, It's just the only way you can know that she's trans is from her profile, where it says it does say her dead name. Basically, she used to be Rosetto, and now she's Rosetta. Rosano, and now it's Rosetta, I think.
Her dead name?
Yeah. That's like for trans people, that's what you call it if you call them their old name. It's a dead naming.
And it's a bad.
So, Valkyria, and it's also just like a super fun game so far. And It's a lot easier than the original one. The original one was super hard, and this one has like difficulty settings and stuff too. But I'm just playing on normal, and I've died a few times for sure, because there's a lot of like, if this character dies, you lose the fight. And it does have permadeath, so you won't get all these cool extra story scenes if you let non-essential members of your crew die.
Interesting.
So don't do that. And yeah, so that's my level up.
Well done, John.
Woo! Well done, Allison, because Allison was the one who told me about Maria Fedeka.
Oh, yeah. Well done, Allison.
Yay! That's my sister.
That's the end of our show.
What? No.
Portion of the show.
Yay!
Now we get into the meat of the show.
Ooh, the
Meat.
salami.
Like the hard salami clinging to the thigh of Ryan Reynolds,
Whoa.
television's Detective Pikachu.
You are about to burst into a explosion of smoke and feathers.
Like the chicken lady. And I think I told you this, but I really want to emphasize, you are not the first of my friends to compare me to the chicken lady from Kids in the Hall.
Mm-hmm.
In, I guess, mannerism and desire. So there's that.
The only time you ever remind me of her is just when you are perving on someone, so that's all.
Chicken lady loves life.
Exactly. Let's move on.
If we must.
Yes.
Is it time for the frog log?
It's time for the frog log.
Frog
I will
log.
feed the frog log chapter 10. Was it, what did we do? Chapter 9 and chapter 10, and see if they combine into something fun.
They kind of do.
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 9 is definitely fun. This is the most fun I've had with this game so far. Spoilers.
I don't know. That dungeon
Let's
sucked.
get into it.
That dungeon.
The dungeon sucked.
Sucked.
The events leading up to it, I really enjoyed.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do it.
So the captain's super happy because he's beat Valcog. He has found out what the puzzle means. He's got the key pieces, and he is ready to decode the tablet.
Mm-hmm.
So suddenly something's very wrong. Someone has stolen the key pieces. Do you know who it could be, Vanessa?
Matthew. I patch checked. Oh, it was Matthew?
No, I just thought he might.
I stole nothing.
No, it was Zegram.
I patch checked. And Chaz gets to the deck just in time to stop iPatch Jack from getting away. Yeah, the timing of this whole thing is very strange to me because we learned that the pieces are missing. Chaz hears like a skidoo starting up and goes running up there because he thinks that it must be Zegram. And Chaz gets to the deck and he is alone. So I don't know if the other people just decided not to go.
They were just like, we don't care.
Or if they sort of did a rambling walk, because some of them do show up eventually. But you would think this would be an all hands on deck kind of situation. One of your pirates is mutineering. That's when you get your whole crew together.
It's different with space pirates. They're more chill. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, but really all we've done is go do some paperwork.
Yeah. It's true. And go on some fetch quests.
And really mori up a family conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Mori up.
Yep. All right, Prince 1. You say your dad liked Prince 2 better. Prince 2, you're saying your brother's an idiot and could never run a kingdom.
And then the dad comes out and they all get in a fight. Then they get DNA tests and they're all related to the goat. And it's really confusing. And somehow the brother is also the grandfather. And you just kind of turn it off after a while.
Yeah.
I know Prince 2 is the father. There is no way, Maury. There is no way it's Prince 1.
Logan, Gazelle, the results are in. Sword Daddy is your father.
Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
Speaking of sword daddies,
Yes.
Zegram!
Yeah, so you get like a Marvel movie style fight between two heroes.
Mm-hmm. It's a real Captain Chaz Civil War.
And I assume that you just kick the crap out of him because he sucks, right?
Well, you can definitely, if you have Illusion Sword, you can really do this fight pretty easily, and you can like get Zegrim stuck on ship geometry, like get parts of the ship in between you two and nail him that way.
Smart.
Now, from the cutscene we were just talking about of the captain gloating through until you get to the labyrinth, you cannot save. Just so you know, you can't
That's
save.
so bad.
I know, because there's a one-on-one
auto
fight.
saves in between bosses, right?
No.
What?
It's a PS2 game. It doesn't auto save.
That's so bad.
Poor
is very
design
bad.
decision. PS2 game. Get with the
Yes.
times.
So, you fight with Zegrim, you beat him up, and he's like, "Well, I'm leaving anyways, dweeb."
Yeah.
So,
And Zegram, I hate it when games do this, when you have to fight one of your party members and the opposing party member is suddenly way stronger than they've ever been in the game. Like, Zegram has like 10 times the hit points at least as what he has when you're just playing him. It's stupid.
it really is. So Zegrim heads off to Rosa, where he meets up with Valkrog. And so the gist of it, and I was a little fuzzy on the details here, because they don't bother explaining it. They explain every other dead girlfriend in this game, even if
everyone gets a long, tragic backstory.
except for Zegrim, where they're like, "Oh yeah, I guess your girlfriend's dead anyway."
Yeah, and that's why you're doing this whole thing.
Because Valkog had told Zegrim, with this rune power, he could bring the dead back to life.
Right. But Zegrim sort of knows that that isn't true.
Yeah.
And he says, "Oh, I was just like hoping it was true, but I knew it wasn't. You suck.
Mm-hmm.
You can't bring my girlfriend back.
Mm-hmm.
My girlfriend's been fridge, so that excuses this absolute betrayal
Mm-hmm.
that I have done for this party. I'm Zegrim."
Now, do they even like show a shot of the girlfriend or a flashback?
No.
Do they
No,
show?
he doesn't have like a picture of her. He shows nothing.
So you know how we were sure that this Rosencaster stuff would come back?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it is, Vanessa.
No, I don't. I think Rosencaster is dead.
Uh-huh.
I guess it sort of explains his tenderness with Rosencaster of placing the photo in his hand, because he also has a dead girlfriend
Okay.
who he wants to bring back to life.
Right.
So they have that in common.
Okay. That's actually that's not that's some pretty good writing, except for the whole using a woman as an excuse for guy to do stuff. A dead woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's
Well, if you can think of another motivation, I'd like to hear it.
how about daughter dies?
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that would be so powerful.
Or like a girl that you've kidnapped but think of as a daughter and then have to kill to stop the heroes.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
The only motivations.
Mm-hmm.
So Seed is there too, and he finally takes off his mask, and he's like a Edward Scissorhands version of Chaz.
Yeah, he looks just like Chaz, and Zegrim is like, what the fuck is this? Like, are you kidding me? you look like this really annoying guy I know. And Seed is just like, it's finally time for Seed to come to his purpose.
And yeah, he's a cyber Chaz. And you find out that Seed has been genetically created from like instructions left on this tablet.
Yeah, I guess the tablet has like DNA carved onto it.
So,
and so there. Whoa.
was anybody
Yes, Matt?
shocked that Seed turned out to be just a fucking normal looking anime boy under that mask?
I mean, I didn't think he was going to be Chaz.
Yeah, I guess I thought he'd have like some kind of. I thought he'd have some dead character's face that they like stapled onto it.
Yeah.
I don't know what character I thought that would be, but I certainly was not expecting it to be Chaz.
Yeah. And when we say Chaz, we mean Jaster Rogue.
I
Yes.
didn't really realize that he was supposed to be Chaz until they made it very explicit in the dialogue.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they just all look like pretty anime boys to me.
Right.
Well, he has the same like mark on his face too.
So Seed and Zegrum fight for some reason because Zegrum decides that he's not taking their offer because he knows they're going to renege on their deal.
He has a complete change of heart.
Mm-hmm. And
he suddenly
Seed's-
realizes he's not going to get what he wants, so he backs out of the deal. I don't know that I would
Seed
call that a
seems-
change of heart.
Seed seems very difficult to defeat. But once you get like a quarter of the life bar down, the gang arrives and everything's forgiven. For some reason.
Yeah, boy, they really just let this mutiny go fast.
Well, I guess Zegrum's their buddy.
Mm-hmm.
And
Again,
you start
this is not very
fighting Seed.
pirate-like behavior.
Now, this is a fight I tried to win. You don't do very much damage, but the thing is, you're not really supposed to do the fight. You're supposed to put objects down on pedestals, and you only find that out if you walk near the pedestals.
Yeah, I guess I picked up on that. There's a little cutscene. So it ended very quickly for me because I just ran from pedestal to pedestal and put things down on it.
Well, the second time I had to do this because I died in the next boss battle.
No,
Oh, no, that's not
terrible.
the next one, the one after that.
What? That's even worse.
The second I did like 1 minute because all you have to do is run up to the 3 different altars and put the objects in. And as soon as you do that, all these Lego bricks start swirling around. And they seem to be trying to create something. And then Seed's like, oh yeah, this is what it's made for. It's made to like solve this puzzle.
Yeah, Seed's whole purpose in life is to do this Rubik's Cube.
And he can't.
He can't do it.
Nope, he cannot.
I got excited because when it comes out, it looks sort of like a mana tree.
Oh, but it doesn't
Like-
happen yet. We aren't there yet.
Oh,
You have Seed is floating there, controlling everything. The music's going what sounds to me like Tom Petty chocolate bar over and over again. I don't know. I don't know what your interpretation of those lyrics were.
Please sing your interpretation, John.
Tom Petty chocolate bar. Tom Petty chocolate bar.
I think that's probably accurate.
Yep.
That's it. You nailed it
Yep.
in one.
All right. I'm usually very bad at understanding lyrics, but I got that one.
Mhm.
So he fails. Like you think that Seed's doing it and moving these like giant city blocks together, but he can't.
He can't do it.
Nope.
He can't make that Rubik's Cube come together. And he gets very frustrated, especially because his dad is watching. And he was like, watch this, Dad. You're going to want to see this, Dad. I'm going to get the big dunk and win the basketball game for all the kids at my high school. And you're going to be proud of me for the first time in my life, Dad. I'm going to show you that all the hours that you spent getting up and drilling me on free throws weren't for nothing. Here I go, Daddy. Dad, watch me. Dad,
He
love
can't
me.
do it. He misses those free throws, and Dad's like,
Mhm.
"Well, you're useless and worthless. You suck. Sorry, son." And
Yeah, basically, like he just comes right out with that.
let me see if I can say this word right. Matthew, would you say Seed goes Super Saiyan?
Yes.
Okay. And his particular flavor of Super Saiyan is to turn into a centaur.
Yeah, he's tired of being a seed boy, and so he becomes a 30-foot tall centaur instead. His father makes sort of the offhanded remark like, oh, this rune genes that we put in him look like they're activating.
Oh no, he says, looks like those rune cells we implanted just for kicks have activated.
Yeah, they just did it for lols.
For
What
funsies.
does that
Yeah.
fucking mean?
Well, he was making himself like a special son to solve this puzzle, and then they're like, well, we have all the components we need, but let's just throw in some other things just for funsies. And then they activate, and it's pretty lol.
Well, he's always wanted to be the centaur of attention.
Ah.
Oh, boy. Yeah, this is one of those real eye-opening, eye-popping moments when you're like, wait, he's a centaur now?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like a wiggly, strange-looking demon centaur.
Yeah,
Centaur.
he wiggly strange. And Chaz decide to fight him.
Mm-hmm. As they do.
Mm-hmm. And they're going along. They're fighting, and then they're like, "Oh no, this centaur is too strong."
Mm-hmm.
So Jaster just decides that he's gonna Super Saiyan 2.
That was
Yep.
a surprise.
Yeah. He starts to glow.
Mm-hmm.
His little face tattoo or mark changes.
His
and sort of-
eyes turn a devil red.
Yeah, and his voice, much like when Matt's pal Yu-Gi-Oh is possessed by the Pharaoh, his voice drops several octaves, but it's clearly just the same actor talking like this. And for example, when you use a potion on him, he goes, it's pretty great. So yeah, now he's Super Jaster. So that happens.
The downside is, anytime this game goes into a one-on-one fight, like with Digo and what's his name, Gale.
Gale.
If your character dies, it's game over, and you have to start all over again.
That's right. Your friends are not standing to the side, ready to toss in a resurrection potion.
Mm-hmm.
They do not care.
Mm-mm.
Or I guess they respect the honor of the one-on-one fight, and they're not going to interfere.
So this is another spam potion, block all the time, and use your illusion sword moment.
I laughed very hard when Jaster became Super Jaster.
It's great.
It was completely unexpected.
His little
not really
tattoos
foreshadowed
turn
at
bright
all.
red, and they
Yep.
crawl across his face.
Yep.
And his hair turns super red, and it
Mhm.
looks pretty
Oh, that's
okay,
right.
which is funny because the non-Super Saiyan Jaster looks bad. Like, it's not a good character model. He looks, as
No.
I said before, like a small child with a bad haircut. And suddenly they've got a good character model, and it's like, why didn't you just do this? You could have just done this. This could have just been him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that what they were going for was the contrast between how terrible normal Jaster is and how normal Super Jaster is, but because normal Jaster is terrible, Super Jaster, who would otherwise look normal, looks great.
All right.
Don't at me.
So, Jaster kills Seed, or at least wounds him, and I guess Seed's like, ah, crap. Well, I know what I was made for, and it's not what Dad thinks. I did my duty, the thing I was supposed to do, and then he Age of Ultron's out.
Yeah,
What does that
he's
mean?
just done.
He blows himself up?
No.
He turns to dust and blows away.
Yep. It's one of two
And just like
characters
that,
to do that.
Chaz has lost his brother.
Age
Yeah.
of Ultron? Do you mean Infinity War?
Oh, that's the one.
You dummy.
I'm very in
Don't be so
touch.
pedantic about it.
I'm very in touch
It was
with
very confusing, Vanessa.
popular
I knew
culture.
what it
Well,
meant.
congratulations
Matthew.
on picking up on it immediately. I didn't understand what the fuck he was talking about.
All right, sorry. He Infinity Wars out.
Spoilers.
Hey!
Sorry. So Norma
R.I.P. Stanley.
Norma and Valcog jump into Norma's sweet convertible, which we haven't talked about before, but I just love that they're just like, okay, we're outies. They jump into her convertible and
Yeah.
drive off.
Mm-hmm. They are done.
hmm They are the coolest, like, lady and her gay friend couple ever.
Mhm.
I think they're pretty
And
great.
They are. I would like to see more of them.
hmm
And perhaps we shall.
Maybe in the DLC we'll get to play as Norma and Valcog.
TLC.
So, Jaster decides to solve the Jenga puzzle himself.
Mm-hmm.
He gets all his boom blocks together and puts them into a mana tree, as Vanessa described before.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone...
And then it turns into a lion?
And
Yeah.
I know we talked about it, but I just want to kind of reiterate this. So, like, now Jaster is floating up in the sky, and he's Super Jaster. And he is also, like, telekinetically doing a giant fucking Rubik's Cube.
Uh-huh.
Real fucking weird.
Uh-huh.
And,
Meanwhile,
like,
the
at
music
no
is
point
like,
has anything in this
Tom
game led you to
Petty,
believe that Jaster would be
chocolate
able
bar,
to float in the
Tom
sky
Petty,
and telekinetically do a
chocolate bar.
giant puzzle.
And when this is happening, you get an aside with Simon and who is it? Simon and Digo, and they're like, do you think he's the Star King? I think he's the Star King.
Yeah.
What's
They're
this?
just like,
Hey, game. What's that? Like, am
Yeah,
I,
it does.
you know,
what reason
the
have
Star
you
King.
given me to either know what that means or give even the slightest of shits about it?
Well, you know, we've had the Cancer King, and the Leo King,
Mm-hmm.
and the whatever else, the Libra King, and now we got a Star King.
Imagine Guile with glowing red skin. Are you imagining it?
No, I'm still stuck on Ryan Reynolds. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. You stop posting those pictures in the group chat. You're disturbing Jim. He's busy.
All right.
Oh, he's clearly not. He's just messaging us. He could be doing this right now. Fuck
He
him.
could be. So Dorgan Goa's like, all right, well, you're a mutineer, so I should murder you. And then Girl is like, Dad, could you, like, not murder him, please? Please? And he's like, all right, fine.
That's literally it. It's the worst thing. It's the worst. Like, the game cares so little about its own fucking telegraphed a million miles away fucking plot twists that it just immediately glosses over them. Also,
it really, like,
and
this,
Zegrum,
this
he's
betrayal,
he's like, swear loyalty to me, and Zegrum's like, nah. And that's fucking it. Kick him off of the ship. I wouldn't use him, except he's still part of the only trio attack that I have, so he's got to be in the party at all times. I'm really looking forward to that not being the case anymore.
I
Actually,
just
that's
use
not true.
Icy Eye Beam, and it kills all the encounters.
I have, I do have Jaster, Kisala, and Digos, but it's not as powerful.
Ooh, I want to see that one. So, Jaster creates the lion, which is the entrance to the labyrinth. You go inside the labyrinth, and Burton's here. And he's like, hey,
Yeah.
Why are we still dealing with fucking Burton?
not much longer, Matthew.
Yeah, he got there first, I
Yep.
guess. Despite all the effort. I mean, we were right there. We're clearly the ones who opened up these ruins. But there are a ton of people in there already.
Yep. And a lot of ghosts.
Yeah. But you know they're ghosts, so it's okay.
Yeah. So he's going to search around looking for all the ancient treasures and runs ahead of you. And then as you walk around, Jaster sees Kisala getting her leg cramps and turning invisible.
And Jester is not super concerned about this turn of events. He's like, oh, I guess that time of the month or something, right? And she's like, yeah, it's going to pass. Don't worry about it.
Mhm.
He's like, okay, well, you just glowed and then turned invisible and blinked in and out of existence, but whatever.
Yeah, it's normal. Well, she does say that she thinks some force is telling her not to go to Eden.
Right. And then she proceeds to go along straight towards Eden.
Uh-huh. So you meet a cool-looking, friendly robot, a real Iron Giant-looking dude.
I'm not sure I'd call it friendly.
At first, it bows to girl.
That's right. It bows. It sort of bleeps and bloops, but they don't speak bleep bloop. And so it decides to kill them.
Yeah, I don't know what that's all about. Kind of a
No,
trickier
me neither.
fight, because, you have to use distance attacks, basically. If you get near it, it's like shooting a million disco laser beams at you that do lots of damage,
Disco laser. Mm-hmm.
and you can't block them.
I used my Trinity attack over and over and over again.
I just used Illusion Sword over and over again.
I tried out John's advice of using an attack buff and then using Illusion Sword. And it does, in fact, kill these bosses in like 4 fucking seconds. It's crazy.
Yep. The game is not very well balanced. Like,
No.
with Icy Eye Beam takes 27 AP, which is not very much, and it's a Steve attack, and kills every random encounter I've met so far.
Weird.
Yep.
Unless they have a shield or something.
I don't know what level I am. Something in the 40s, I want to say. But it's fun watching my magic slowly. The stat progression in this game is pretty good. Because you can see, like, solid gains and stuff. Like, I've got this triple attack, and I've got the level 2 version of it. And it's wild, and it kills fucking everything. But it costs a lot of mana. But I've hit the point where now I can do it 4 times before I have to use a potion, or whatever they call it, energy drink.
Mm-hmm. You can also see solid gains on Ryan Reynolds if you just search for pictures of him without his shirt on.
Thank you for that Ryan Reynolds update, Vanessa. Be sure to check in later for more Ryan Reynolds news, views, and politics.
Oh, now I want to know, Vanessa, did you ever get around to the Deadpool movies, and are you going to now if you haven't?
I saw Deadpool #1 on an aeroplane.
Well, that's not the...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was heavily edited for aeroplaniness. Very small screen. Cannot recall him taking his shirt off. It is my understanding that he is now a burnt and gross. So I may not be as interested in seeing him with his shirt off. That said, I don't want to dismiss scarring out of hand completely, because I have seen a movie called Black Panther. And there's a very important character in that movie called Killmonger. And he is covered in scars on his chest and should never cover them with a shirt or anything else. I would like to count each one of his scars with my tongue.
Wow. I was just going to say, I know plenty of cute dudes who've like gone through fires and stuff and have, I think our flaws can make us unique, and you shouldn't feel bad about yourself if you do have body scars and things.
Oh, I agree.
Yes.
My favorite Chris is Chris Pine, and he has some kind of like facial scarring, and it's great. I think it adds a lot more visual interest than your Chris Evans, who has a perfect smooth baby face.
But he does rock that beard, though. It turns out Chris Evans can grow a hell of a beard. That thing is thick as hell.
Have you heard about why Elvira always wears that particular cut of dress?
Never.
She got a pot of boiling water accidentally poured on her as a child.
Yikes.
Oh my god.
But her cleavage was unaffected, so that's why she wears a full body dress other than her cleavage.
Oh, I had no idea.
I didn't know that either. That's interesting.
Yeah.
What a great way to sort of take a tragic accident and turn it into your signature money-making thing.
Exactly. I love her. She's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as you're done this, there's a save point, And you're like, oh, I'll just go back and... Oh, no. Meanwhile, this time Steve is like wanting to talk. He just wants to like chat with Dr. Picacio, check in.
Steve thinks that he and Dr. Picacio are friends.
Mm-hmm.
And that he is not just a vessel for Dr. Picaccio's dead son.
He doesn't realize he's basically Skype.
Yeah.
And so Mark shows up.
Oof.
And Steve's like, what are you doing here? And he's like, oh, you were inside my head this whole time, haven't you been? And Mark's like, well, kind of. Let's go check in on Dad. But he doesn't answer.
Oh, no.
He's in his office, and so is Chief Star.
What is fucking happening, game? Oh my fucking good God. You know that none of this has anything to do with the fucking game itself? There is literally a second game. It's not even a game, though. There's a separate story, and it's a movie about a goddamn man and his ghost child robot carrier.
It's wrapping up, though, because Chief Star's like, oh, I thought I heard you talking to a child. Things here seem a little bit pervy.
Mm-hmm.
Pervy?
And he's like, you aren't still ... But he is still ...
Mm-hmm. Now there's a sound drop that The Greatest Generation always uses whenever something's a little pervy, and it's from To Catch a Predator, and it's Chris, what's his name? Chris Hansen?
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a sound drop of him saying, things seem a little pervy.
No.
But no, he didn't say that. He just insinuated that he knows what's going on. And Dr. Picacio denies it, and Chief Star says, that's cool. And that's it for now. Back to the game.
Thank you.
Burton translates the ancient runes in this room full of ancient... As soon as basically the party walks through and says, ancient runes. Wish I could read them. And they can't. So they leave. And then Burton comes in. It's like, oh, I think I just missed the party. But, ancient runes. I can read those. He takes out his notebooks like, oh, uh-oh. And he runs to try and find the gang.
Yes, he is in much distress. And he's like, oh no, I have to tell Jaster.
But he doesn't tell us, the audience, what he's discovered.
No, why would he? I mean, if you make a discovery, are you like standing there and being like, I have just discovered this and that, blah, blah, blah.
Vanessa?
Now I will go. Mm-hmm.
Honestly, yes.
Oh.
I talk to myself when I'm working all the time.
I do too,
yes.
but it's mostly like bursts of expletives.
So
I will say to myself while I am working, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? Because I don't want to lose focus, and that helps me stay focused. I also have a little song I sing when I have to do something, but I don't want to do it. It says, I don't want to do this, but I'll do it anyway. And then I do it.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
So, Sand Kraken.
What?
Sand Kraken.
It's sand in my kraken?
No, sand cracking. No, Kraken. Like, sand in the Kraken?
What? Sand in the kraken.
The Kraken.
Oh, you mean sand in the kraken.
Exactly.
I got
I think that might be the pun they were going for. Maybe. There's a sand kraken. It's a kraken made out of sand. It's a boss fight. It's a Zelda-y kind of boss fight.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It got little legs, and you bonk the legs, and then it fall down. Has sort of a mushroom top, and you jump up on its mushroom top, and you whack it. Then stand back up again, and you do it again.
Now I'm thinking about Toad.
Oh, no, John, stop that. Nobody wants to whack that mushroom.
Okay. So this was a fun boss. Pretty easy. And then you go, the part, Ragnar was missing a part, and that's why he couldn't communicate. So we find the part, bring it back to Ragnar, And Ragnar's like, bleep bloop, I am a robot. You're a princess Iraith of... Okay. Not only do they have 2 names for this dumb planet, they have 3 names for this dumb planet.
Wait, what?
You're a princess of La Marie Glencia, or Mary
Wait,
Glen.
Chaz is a princess?
No, the Kisala girl,
Oh.
Irieth.
Mm-hmm.
Not Kisala.
Wait, her name's Irieth?
Yes, her name is
That's
Irieth.
not much better than the Kasala.
And
Seems very eerie.
so they're like, our planet's like, we go by Mary Glen or La Mary Glencia, and everyone's like, okay, Eden.
Okay.
You don't know, actually, no, guys,
Mary
just
Glen.
like try to remember to call us Mary Glen or La Mary Glencia. That just, just to be cool and to be polite. If you don't mind calling us that, and then everyone's like, okay, Eden, that's great.
Yeah. So wait, what is happening?
She's a princess from Eden, and she got kicked out because something bad was happening, and Ragnar is there to protect her. Well, he doesn't do a very good job of it. And
yeah, he tried to kill us.
Ragnar put her on the lifeboat that was going through the pirate shipping lanes, and that's why the Dorgan Goa ran into it.
Okay, but that's like new information that we just got now.
Yes.
Like, we didn't hear about, the captain found her in a little lifeboat and took her in.
They didn't have much family resemblance between the two of them.
Can we
That's
just
true.
say again that, like, we're supposed to be pirates? This
They
guy's
do- they
plan
make some
was
jokes
to dump
about
a
that.
baby in the middle of pirate territory, and he didn't expect her to just get, like, killed
Oh, speaking
or
of babies,
sold into slavery.
what happened to the Leo baby? Like,
Who knows?
He's taken to that village.
Oh,
they
yeah.
they sort of do a throwaway line of he's going to go be raised in the village.
Yeah, we
now.
talked
in like
about that.
Burkakwa village?
No, he went
Yeah.
to where
Oh,
was
okay.
from.
Lilica.
Lilica.
Lilica. All right. So so she was a baby. He is like 10 feet tall and 1,500 pounds. Has a face nothing like hers. He's more of a Hagrid.
Mm-hmm.
They don't.
Well, I thought she took after her mother.
She does look quite a bit like her mother, but you'll find out about that next time. But we're not there yet.
Oh.
No. So, you get out and you're like, oh, wasn't that an awesome dungeon? And Kasala's like, I was a princess this whole time?
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly you get this amazing close-up of Mancha
It's so good.
driving full force at the gang, and he's
Yes,
like,
on his like little sky ski-doo, and it has the action lines all around him, and his mouth is open, and he's just like into this frozen expression.
Salgin is under attack.
Oh no.
That's the Tatooine, Mos Eisley type town.
Mm-hmm.
So you head on back there, and you watch them all get onto Mancha's scooter. It's pretty great. Raoul meets you outside of the city, which is under attack and belching out smoke. And Raoul then like has a magic staff and seems to be like helping deflect the attack somehow.
He has a EMP field staff.
Right, and he directs it at the ship and causes a lot of damage.
He a magic
Yeah.
boy, and he'd throw magic with staff.
Mm-hmm. That's what happened.
Well, they like shoot a rocket at him, and he seems fine. He doesn't have any external visible damage, but he's totally dying.
Yeah. And the people attacking the town are those Ferrari people, right?
The Datron?
Yeah, Datron.
Yeah.
What a fucking bizarre thing to just drop 2 secret royalty plot twists on us.
We've only got one of the
right
two
after
so
the
far.
other that just had no lead up or like just what is with this game? What is
this
with
game, I
this
guess-
fucking weird game? It's so
Yeah,
terrible.
the first half was not heavy on the plot,
Mm-hmm.
and now is where they have decided to insert some plot into the game.
Yeah, as Raul is dying in your arms, he's like, "Oh yeah, your father gave me this pendant. You should have it." And Chaz is like, "You knew my father? You mean my dad?" And
Daddy!
he's like, "Yeah, sorry, I kind of fibbed to you about finding you on the church doorstep. Actually, like, I coordinated this with your father, and I've been looking after you this whole time. And sorry about that."
Yep, and now he's dead, and Chaz does the whole no thing.
And he starts getting pouty, and is like,
Mhm.
Kasala walks up to him. He's like, "No, you wouldn't understand me. You're not alone like I'm alone." And Kasala just gives him a big old slap.
Yeah, she hit him.
Mm-hmm. And
All
the
of it
star
was worth it
pendant-
for that one joke. Great job, game.
Which
I don't know if
joke?
it's a joke that she hit him.
Yeah.
Where's the punchline?
Right in her fist.
Oh.
So yeah, he gets over it real fast.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because they're both like, well, we're both sort of space orphans, so cool, I guess.
Yeah, let's just be orphans together.
So let's make out, maybe? I don't know.
Well,
There hasn't really been a romance element to their relationship.
except I got this attack, which is like called like Lovers Unite or something, or Together Forever.
What?
Yeah,
and
she's
it's-
like pretty enamored with him, has been the impression
And-
I've gotten the whole time.
The attack is them like spinning around holding hands, and it's very romantic.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, so there is some kind of weird Kasala and Jaster attack. So you get it's the pendant starts glowing, and it's a map of the Kuji Desert, and Jaster's like, "There's nothing there. It's just like sandstorms."
Mm-hmm.
And Jupus Tuki's like, "You only have a 1% chance of surviving out there.
Thanks, C-3PO.
Never tell me the odds." And they decide to go anyways. They stop into a church that they pass along the way. And they got down on their knees and began to
Mhm.
pray.
Oh.
But then the Desert Claw, who he met in LA,
Mhm.
says, "Jaster, stop your dreaming. You gotta go this way." Wow, I made Matthew adjust his headphones out of pain.
Yeah. That was beautiful, John.
Thank you. Yeah, Desert Claw's like, "Hey, dude, I'll tell you a little bit more about stuff, but not too much more.
Mm-hmm.
But you should go to the Kuja Desert. That's where you gotta go. Don't try to activate the lock, because I totally broke it.
Yeah, and Jester's like, why would you do that?
Well, if you went right now, it'd be super bad." And so, because Dorgan Goa throws in that he tried making the lock work, and it didn't work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Desert Claw wants you to do some learning out in the desert, just like Jesus did.
Mm-hmm. Or like when Luke went to those creepy tunnels in Dagobah and fought himself.
Mm-hmm. Except that Luke was already in the desert, and then he went to the swamp.
Well, yeah, that's true.
What a great character Luke Skywalker is, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, let's hear it for Luke.
angrily drinking milk is one of my favorite things I've seen in the theater in the past few years.
It's beautiful, and people got so upset by it, and I'm like, no, he's just emulating his father figure Yoda, because Yoda did all kinds of crazy shit when he was an old hermit.
Mm-hmm.
He took Luke's cracker.
Yep.
He hit his droid with a stick,
Mhm.
even though he knew very well what a droid was, and in fact, I think had encountered that particular droid before.
Mm.
Oh, yeah, prequel. Never mind.
So
Boo.
there's a lot to find out about in this desert, so you go quickly just to save, just because you're like, well, it's a new area. I should probably save before I get it there.
Meanwhile.
Meanwhile.
Jesus.
Meanwhile.
I mean, does it never not make you angry? Are you ever like, oh boy? Or are you always just like, are you
no.
fucking kidding me?
Because it's always like at the end of some arc where I'm like, now I can save my game and go to bed or go do something else. And
Nope.
then it's like, meanwhile.
15 minutes of this crap.
Uh,
So, Chief Star arrests Dr. Picascio for having a digi-son.
yeah,
That is-
pistachio.
Against the law,
So
as he
let's-
explains.
Let's break that down. He busts into the lab with a bunch of fucking cops, all with their
Mhm.
guns drawn, and they're like, "We're gonna murder you, Dr. Picaccio, because you have a digi-ghost son."
Why do they have their guns drawn? What were they worried about?
Well,
mean,
he makes killer robots.
Yeah.
I think that it can be argued that the police were escalating the situation.
That may well be the case. But yeah, they explained that it is illegal to copy someone's memories and then upload them to a computer. So clearly they've had some kind of Black Mirror problem in the past,
Mhm.
and they have outlawed that practice.
No more San Juniperos. It's unethical.
No more John Hamm putting people in eggs.
What?
That happened too.
I haven't seen. Is that one any good?
It's good. It's creepy.
Okay.
Now, was the Butlerian Jihad part of the AI rebellions or whatever?
What did you just say?
What?
Somebody write in.
Butlerian Jihad?
So
Is it-
in Dune, there's the AI war. The reason that they have mentats and not computers is because computers are outlawed.
Oh.
And that's due to some war. It's like a throwaway line in Dune, similar to the line about the Clone Wars in Star Wars.
Right.
I can't remember if that's called the Butlerian Jihad or if it's
I
something
don't think
else.
it's called the Butlerian Jihad.
Oh, listen. Go Google Butlerian Jihad because that's a thing. I'm just not
I'm
sure if
not
it's
going to
this
Google
thing.
that.
I am.
What's this? And there's was it the Bene Gesserit and their pain box?
Stop
Butlerian
it.
Jihad.
Oh, I'm a nerd, and this is the kind of nerd stuff that just makes me angry.
Oh, it was. Wow, that was a deep fucking cut from Matthew, folks. I was right. The Butlerian Jihad is what
Stop
led to the
saying
outlaw
it.
of thinking machines.
What?
I actually have read one of these books Matthew's talking about. Aren't you impressed?
God, I've read Dune and half of one of the other ones. I actually am not super knowledgeable. That's why I'm saying it's a deep cut for me.
All right. Well, great job.
Hey,
So,
I'm proud of myself. It's not
Mark-
about talking ghost bicycles, so...
Mark and Steve have an emergency conference. They're like, well, what do you want to do? Your dad's being arrested. We have to do something. And Mark's like, well, I know how to save him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to
I'll
delete
kill myself.
Oh, wait.
Yep.
Let's go back in time just a quick second. The whole point of that was for me to be like, it's a real Butlerian Jihad situation, guys. That's why there's no ghost robots allowed in Rogue
Vanessa?
Galaxy universe.
How
Yes,
about we
John?
give him a good hard pity laugh in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You are fucking monsters. This is so insulting.
Oh, classic Matt.
Oh, that was
Oh, you
wow.
Dickheads.
All right. So Mark deletes himself. It's the saddest game event ever.
It's not sad at all. I am so glad to see him go. Mark deletes himself, and it's great because it turns out there was actually no point to Mark at all the whole time because now he's gone and nothing ever happened with him.
What are you
And,
doing to my life, game?
Yeah.
Listeners,
That's
can
what
you
his
fucking
market-
imagine? I know that most of you aren't playing along with this. Can you fucking imagine this? You just walk through a 3-hour dungeon. The levels are so unnecessarily big. And all you want to do is turn it off and go get a fucking sandwich or something. And instead, you're treated to a 15-minute goddamn cutscene about characters that have nothing to do with anything in this nothing plot of a game.
So yeah, Mark deletes himself. The cop who was like at the computer because they're seizing evidence, just like looks at the screen and it says deleted, and then the police say, "Well, there's
Our work
no
here is
evidence."
done.
Yeah, so we can't arrest him.
Well, the
Let's
man's
go.
ghost son has committed suicide, so
Yep.
job done. See ya.
Another case solved.
More fine work by the people who threw people in the dungeon because they were present at an explosion.
It's true.
And Neo said they did it.
Mm-hmm. They were threatening employees, and every DMV has big signs that say it's illegal to threaten employees.
I don't know what you're talking about. What the fuck are you talking about? You have to have signs up at your DMVs that say don't threaten the employees?
In every American one I've been to, yes. And
I mean, fair.
yeah.
We're terrible.
mhm. So, at the Kujay Desert, you see several things. First, an old man asks for some water.
Yeah, that was fine.
Next,
I want to rephrase the way that you're putting this, because you're making it sound like some sort of logical progression, and that's not true.
Oh.
So at the Kuja Desert, you wander forever down a bunch of fucking corridors, and then you get to a spot where there's branching corridors, and you can go down each of them. If you go straight to the end, you'll find nothing. You cannot go anywhere. It is just an invisible wall, which is really fucking frustrating. There's multiple paths, and if you're me, they're branching and stuff. Did anybody else have quite the time trying to fucking trigger these events that have to happen?
A little bit, but there are many save points throughout the whole branching area, and I
Which is
appreciate
weird.
that.
The only
There was
fucking place
a
in the
ton of
entire
them.
game where there are like 15 save points.
and they're like
Yeah.
1 minute apart. It's very
Mhm.
weird. And
Yeah.
the enemies are not hard.
Nope. So we do get into some events. As John said, the first one is a man who asks you for some water. After he does that, he sort of like fades away, but I honestly, like, I was suspicious of that, but okay with it because, you know, we're in a sandy desert and we've seen that people fade away for all kinds of reasons in this game. So I didn't really lose my cool at this point. It was okay. The next one I came across was a little girl who had been bitten by a snake, and she wants Jaster to suck on her.
She's been on the ankle. And
Did anybody
Once.
choose no to any of these to see what would happen?
who
No,
has
I'm
time?
not a monster.
Yeah, I also did not. So
Yeah, so you have a yes or no choice. So the guy's like, "May I have some water?" And you can be like, "Yes, you may," or "No, you may not." We all chose yes, and the little girl is like, "I've been bit by a snake. Please suck the poison out." And you can say, "Okay." And if you do, she'll say, "Oh, but wait a minute. If you suck it out, you might die." And Jaster's like, "It's cool. I'm not worried about that. Maybe my mouth will get a little numb, but I can handle it." So you do that. And then I came across a corpse of a man. He had a letter that said that he wanted to give this bag of gold he has to his wife. Here I had a little trouble because it says, like, pick up the gold, and I kept picking no because I didn't want to take his
Yeah.
gold.
so did it force you to do it again? What happened?
Yeah, it forced me to do it again. Basically, it like popped me out like right next to it, and then I stepped forward, and it was like, pick up the gold? Yes, no.
And yeah,
Um,
you have to do that.
Yeah, so I picked up the gold. I was still feeling pretty okay about this whole turn of events. Again, the little girl had sort of like vanished, I would say, after I sucked the poison out of her leg. But again, maybe she just like teleported. People can teleport in this game. It's totally fine. It's not a big deal. And I am not getting anxious at this point at all. As you can tell by my narrative, I was fine. Then you get to this lady.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. But first,
Yes, but first.
we see Our favorite twosome. Jubi and Chie. What's her name?
Chie and Miyoko.
Chie and Miyoko.
Oh, dear Lord. They're here in this desert.
Yeah. And they're
starving.
like on the brink of death.
Why won't they stop and go home? Because Daddy might be home waiting for them.
Yeah.
Why won't they stop?
Yeah, little Miyoko is like, is Daddy here? And she is like, I have no idea. And
So
Miyoko's like, why don't we go home? Daddy will come home, and I want to say, welcome home, Daddy, when he comes home.
this isn't going to pay off very well, is it?
I don't know.
At this point,
Because-
how can it pay off?
Yeah. Yeah, because Chie starts crying, and she's like, you're right, Miyoko. We should have been waiting for him to come home at home all along, instead of me dragging my 6-year-old child across the galaxy looking for my husband, who disappeared from the hospital.
Yeah, like
Neil
I don't
Breen
want to talk
style.
shit about anybody's mom, but she's not a very good mom.
So once again, Chaz and friends just watch this unfold
Mm-hmm.
and watch them make the decision to go home and stop wandering the galaxy.
I see these game designers do not believe in the rule of threes.
No.
So I believe this is the 4th time we've seen
It's
them.
the 4th time we've seen them, and there is no payoff whatsoever.
Yeah.
Much like Mark. I mean, maybe the point of this game, the general theme, is that, like, children are terrible.
Jeez.
Like, you have this princess who was abandoned by her parents, probably because she's terrible, we'll find out. And who knows what's up with Chaz? His father abandoned him.
So, you get to the end of this maze, and there's a lady named Emily, which is the same as the letter on the dead body.
Mm-hmm.
Eh.
I'm like, great. Here's the widow. I can give her the coins.
Mm-hmm.
You have to talk to her a little bit. She's like, hey, have you seen my husband? And you're like, yes. And she's like, is he okay? And I picked no,
Yeah.
because he's dead.
You're telling the truth.
Yeah. And then it's like, give the money. And I picked yes. And then she's very happy. She starts crying, and she's like, oh, thank you so much for telling me. It's better to know. And he left all this money for me. He really loved me. I'm so happy. And then the camera starts to sort of pan around Jaster's back. So it's like it was on her, and then it goes behind Jaster's head. And Emily says, oh, now I can go be with my husband. And then when the camera comes out on the other side of Jaster, yeah, Emily's a fucking ghost.
No, she's a desiccated corpse.
Yeah, even worse.
Oh no,
It's
it's a ghost. What was not initially explained to be a ghost.
I hate it so much. I was so mad. I knew that's where they were going with these fading people, but I was like, okay, maybe if it's just like explained that they were ghosts, I'll get that little chill, but it will be okay. But I was not expecting Emily to turn into the goddamn Crypt Keeper.
And
right
then
in
she
front of my
Age of
face.
Ultron's right
And
there.
then she Age of Ultron's away. And I was talking to a ghost the whole time. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
Except then this pretty village appears in the middle of the sandstorm.
Yeah, it's a real Brigadoon situation.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, okay, well, get some culture.
Okay. And in the middle of the sandstorm is a real Valkyria Chronicles style, like, I don't know, Dutch landscape with windmills and green grass and blue sky.
Mm-hmm. It's beautiful.
And the first guy you talk to, Elder Naba is his real name, the one who wanted water, is there. He's like, oh, you passed our test, so that's how you can get into our village.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll also see Emily is there in his kitchen. So I think they were ghosts or people who were actually ghosts who weren't actually ghosts who are being kind of ghosts.
It's a triple psych out.
Yep.
It was someone who I thought wasn't a ghost, who then appeared to be a ghost, who is actually not a ghost.
But kind of is a ghost in
definitely
the
a
end.
Ghost though?
Yeah. Because the village disappears. I think they're all
At
dead
this
at the
point,
end.
I'm just confused.
Because the little girl's there in the kitchen too. but the dead husband doesn't seem to be. I guess they made him up or something.
Yeah, they probably made him up. That's definitely right along the plot point of this game.
Yep.
I would not put it past it.
So everyone there is like, oh yeah, there's this awesome lady. You should totally meet her. And Jasper's like, oh, what's her name? They're like,
We don't know.
Brantula?
Yeah.
No. Farn?
Becky?
Mhm.
I don't think she's a Becky.
Oh, I don't think it's a Becky. Rondo of Blood.
Rondo of Blood.
All right. Let's
Yeah,
get through
so
this. So it turns out that you have to go.
But they also they talk about how the name of their town is so great, and just hearing the name of their town makes them cry because it's so beautiful.
Johannesburg?
Yeah, their town is called Johannesburg.
The capital of South Africa?
Yeah,
Okay.
that beautiful name that makes all of us cry.
So you wander around.
Johannesburg.
Eventually, you can walk into a house where you'll run into this woman that they can't remember.
Mhm.
Is that right?
Yep.
So they don't know she's there, and then she tells you the whole story, so she's not there anymore. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, she had to. Basically, it would ruin everything if they knew she was the daughter of the Star King and had Star
What?
King powers.
What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
So
all right,
she
so let's get into this. You go to a house, and there's a blonde lady there, and she's like, let's fight, and then you fight.
And she's transparent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She
she's a ghost.
And
Which
you
is
have to
fine,
fight the
again,
ghost.
because she's like presenting herself as a ghost initially, and that's all I ask for. That's all I ask for. I'm okay with ghosts.
And
I
then
don't
she
have
tells
a
you-
problem with a ghost who is upfront about what they're doing and what they're about, and what they're about is being dead and non-corporeal and a ghost. My problem is when ghosts show up at your door and they're like, I'm alive, and you're like, okay, great, here's a living human being. Turns out they're not. They were ghosts all along. I do not like it, and I do not stand for it.
So, as Matthew was saying, she's like a descendant of the Star King, and she saved the town because it was about to get killed. There's a big, like, deadly disease that was killing everybody. So
We
she
didn't
took
talk about this fight at all. It's a one-on-one fight. Chaz versus
Is
Lady.
that what happens first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Chaz versus Lady. Lady has attack where she make lots of other ladies
Mhm.
and swarms you.
Mhm.
And you gotta like use an area of effect attack to get rid of those. And then you hit her with your sword.
And you can't block her fireball, so just, like, keep your distance and use illusion sword, and you'll win pretty fast.
Yeah, and you're on fire all the time, but it's not really a
Unless you
problem.
dodge the fireballs, which you can
Yeah.
also do.
So all that happened, and then Chaz goes Super Saiyan halfway through,
Mm-hmm.
which I guess is his thing now.
Mm-hmm. She's like, oh, well, I guess that means we don't have to fight anymore, right? Oh, no, it means you do still fight her, and then she's like, I guess you're powerful enough.
Yeah, and then she gives her exposition dump.
Yeah. And she's related to the Star King. That's why she could take this town out of time and basically freeze time. It would screw everything up if they knew she was the one doing it, so she removed their memory of her, except that they called the town after her after this, and also everyone seems to remember her a bit.
Yeah, because they loved her so much that even though she tried to erase her memories or their memories of her, she couldn't do it. They loved her.
This is about 10 minutes of the explanation and is basically flavor text because it has nothing to do with anything else.
No, it doesn't.
As soon as the conversation is over, the town is dead. Everyone's gone.
But she does confess to having a intimate relationship with one of our party members.
Mm-hmm. She's like, oh yeah, Jester, you know how you have a mom? That's me.
And he's
Bum,
like,
bum,
"Whoa."
bum. Ghost Mom. So, do you think the Ghost Boy plot the whole time was just setting us up to accept Ghost Mom as, you know?
Guess
No.
so.
No, it wasn't setting us up for anything.
Does she tell you anything important?
She tells you you're the Star King.
That's about it, right? And she says you do have to go to Eden now.
Yeah, I don't think she even really explains what a Star King is or why any of us should care about any of this.
She's just like, you have the blood of the Star King, just like I did.
Mm-hmm.
Good for you.
But he's
Congratulations.
definitely destined to like save the fucking universe or some shit.
No one has said that, but it's
There is
heavily
a-
implied.
When she's describing the Star King, there's like this luscious pan up of a man in like a tight bodysuit who looks like Guile.
Yeah. Star King is hot.
Mm-hmm.
He's
And
not.
okay, I'm gonna guess it now from his character design. I think he's the bad guy.
What?
I think he's the bad guy.
That would be quite the twist.
Uh-huh.
Twist! So you think the bad guy is your grandfather?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, it's
So-
happened before.
So, Ghost Mom transitions. The town vanishes. You've gotten the information you need. You go back to the city and...
Well, in the desert, Desert Claw shows up. He gives
That
a
makes
whole
sense.
explanation about
That's where
how he
Desert
ran
Claws
into
belong.
this
The
town,
desert.
and he totally
Weird if he was in
banged
the
Jester's
jungle or
mom.
something. Oh, wait,
He's
he
my
was
my
in the
name is
jungle.
Meisel. I'm your dad.
And
he's
he
been
like
li-
gave you up because of all this shit, and it's just like more tragic backstory.
Mm-hmm.
And they once
really
again have
makes
had a
no
whole
sense.
game to try to develop the character of Jaster,
Yeah.
and the only character trait that he has is will do anything anyone asks very happily, and in fact will
Yeah.
stick his nose in and do it whether you want him to or not.
Well, we know he wants to go to space. Like, that was his whole thing
Sure.
originally. His whole sort of like Luke Skywalker posing. That's why he pretended to be Desert Claw, who I guess is now his dad. Desert Claw explains that his mom died because she had the same disease that the villagers had, and that's why she stopped time. But then she left the village to give birth to him because she wanted Chaz to see the galaxy, and then she died. And then Desert Claw was like, fuck this, I'm not raising this kid. Gave him to Raoul, took off to go do something. Now
Well,
he's
he
back.
was I think exploring to get information on the Star-Lord and how to get back
Oh,
to
sure
Eden.
he was. Yeah, he was exploring to get information on the Star-Lord, and that's why for 18 years of Jaster's life, he couldn't be present. Yeah.
Plus, like having a kid kind of cramps his game. It's really hard to meet girls when you have a son. You
Yeah,
can't have
yeah.
women over.
Exactly. And then he shows up and he's like, hey, buddy, here, take my sword. Take my identity. It's cool. And Jaster is quick with the affectionate terms,
Mhm.
Desert Claw's like, I'm your father. And he's like, Dad? Daddy?
Daddy, Daddy
now-
gave me his sword, and now I'm Desert Claw.
The only thing left to do is go to Eden. Although I think next time we should also go to the water planet before we go to Eden
I
and
think
see
that's
what's
a great idea.
going on there.
Okay.
So, next time, Splishy Splash the Water Planet, and then we'll go through the gate to Eden.
The minigame corner this week, I put down a bug trap. I was like, okay, I'm going to catch one more bug so I can get all 5 to do that minigame. But then I was like, I don't have time. That's as much effort as I put into that minigame. So let's move on to Squarely Against.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll go first because everyone knows. I've said it. I'll say it again. I do not like a ghost. What you don't know is a ghost, and then turns out to be a ghost.
But isn't.
But it was.
But is.
No. But isn't.
But are removed from time, and that's like a whole nother layer, and I don't understand. I was talking to a lady, and then the camera went behind her back, and she turned into a ghost, and it scared me.
It's weird that she cursed that town with immortality, though, right?
Well, they didn't seem to notice. They seemed pretty happy.
So.
Those children have been children for 10,000 years.
Yeah.
But there's like old people in the town. Don't you think it sucks to be them? everyone else gets to be young and happy, and they have to be old
And happy.
Yeah.
I'm immortal, but my dick doesn't work.
So Matthew, what are you squarely against?
Oh, I'm roundly for everything that happened with Seed. That was amazing. What happened? I'm a centaur boy. Wow.
Yeah, I was pretty
I'm a
sure at one point
Seed-tor.
that Seed was going to be the final boss of the game. Apparently not. He's dead.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's dead. He Age of Ultron out of this fucking game.
I wish we could follow suit.
So finally, I am roundly for Tom Petty chocolate bars.
Yes, that was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Are we gonna do a letter this week?
Sure. It's another one from Ryan Miller.
Ryan
My
has like,
personal nemesis, Ryan Miller. You mean?
hey.
Yeah. So he's got about 10 questions. Let's just fire them off real fast. One answer to each.
Okay.
All right. Vanessa, are there any
Yeah.
plans to add a movie podcast to the Patreon page? I feel like
No.
this could almost be its own show, how much movies are talked about.
Probably.
Okay. Matthew,
Yo.
there's some talk about Bard's Tale on iOS. I just hope it's because it's the only way to get the first 3 Bard's Tale games. That's not a question.
Well, how am I supposed to respond to that? I'm sorry that you bought that. Don't.
Another
Don't
great
fucking-
Zangief
don't
moment
give money to that. Seriously, pirate
from
it.
the Street Fighter movie is when some truck was about to crash into the bad guy
Do not
compound
pirate it.
when they're watching on security cameras, and he says, "Quick, change the channel." That is a great Zangief moment.
Yeah. John, were you in Vancouver during the riot after the NHL playoff game in 2011? Ryan Miller was outside the CBC building watching the game when it all happened.
I took a photo outside the CBC building before it happened and wrote on this photo on Facebook, "This will be the future site of the NHL riots." The most right I've ever been about anything
Wow.
in my life.
Why
Because-
was there a riot?
Because every time there's playoffs in Canada and they either win or lose, things happen.
It's the
I wonder
best.
if Ryan was in your picture.
Well, it was like 1:45. He probably wasn't.
We don't know how long he was standing out there.
And then on the way home, I had to like walk through tear gas, and that wasn't great.
No. Did it make your eyes sting?
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Oh.
Okay, Matthew. During Mass Effect, Matthew talks about his characters going to the sex worker, doing quests for her, sleeping with her after her paying him. I do believe this actually makes Evil Shepherd a prostitute. Sex worker.
Okay. These are not
Sure.
questions.
I
What
know
is the
Jim is
purpose
on
of
hiatus. And moving was mentioned in the statement, but is there a way we could get closure on the neighbor who believed Jim was a homosexual?
We will ask for an update immediately.
I always want to know more about that and about Camp Gladiator.
Yeah, Jim's refusal to go to Camp Gladiator is like, there are two major things that I have against Jim. The first is his prioritizing his family and career over his amateur podcasting hobby.
Mhm.
I think that's a wrong choice, and he should not be allowed to take personal time, even though it's something that we will all do eventually.
You always say that.
I always say what?
I'm never leaving this fucking show.
Also, finally, there's a lot of comments about the high encounter rate, so be wary if you play the PSN port of Final Fantasy IV that includes the after years, as it has an incredibly high encounter rate the entire game. Well,
Oh, no.
we are so warned. I mean, all those old Final Fantasy games have really high encounter rates.
If I play it, I'll be playing it on iOS for 100% sure.
Oh.
Yeah, and you
They
can like
add fast
zoom
forward
through it.
buttons and shit, and I need that in
Yeah.
my life. Playing Dragon
Thank
Quest
you.
V has definitely taught me that I miss having a fast forward button.
Thank you again, Ryan, for writing in. We appreciate your emails, and it's kind of fun to see someone experiencing the back episodes because I don't remember anything we talked about. And sometimes Ryan brings things up, like Mass Effect, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that game.
We'll have to play Mass Effect 2 2 years from now. Okay, cool. Well, thanks, Ryan. Listener level up this week is 0. No one leveled up.
You all
Game
leveled down.
over.
I will read the Patreon list real fast.
Okay, good.
Ooh, but let's plug the Patreon first. Hey, guys.
Okay.
We're going to read a list of names of patrons. Those are cool people that give us money every month to produce this show and lets us buy things like fancy laptops that we can use to continue making the show and games that we're going to play for the show this month, like The Quiet Man and other fancy, stupid shit that we need. So we appreciate it, and we would like you to become a patron if you want to hear some rad bonus content, like our upcoming episode about The Quiet Man. I believe that's a Square Roots Versus episode. You should jump on that Patreon page, patreon.com/SquareRootsPodcast.
All right. And hey, patrons, I'm going to hit this button called Patrons. And let's see. Patreon. Where's my filters? I want to search for filters. Here it is. All membership type active. Here's all my Patreons. There's Aaron Bachman, Andrew Wayant, Artie Pavlov, Ashley T, Benjamin Avner, Bobby Midkiff, Brady A. Berman. Hey, Brady. Bree Girth, Brian Pitt, Brian Stone, Brody Toy, Cameron Show, Kiva Moser, Cyril the Wolf, Haru, David Green, David Shook, Devin Sloan, Eric Garby, Florian Jonas Kramer, hi Florian, G. Bailey, George Armbruster, The Deadly Attack, Go to Paris, France, Go Cry Wolf, Gregory, Huxley Iguana, that's amazing, Jake Dickerson, James Hostetler, James Platt, Jonathan Ellsworth, Jonathan Lee, Joseph A. Rogers, Josh Anderson, Julia Zanella, Julian Titus, Justin Benoit, Justin Ham, Vanessa's mom, Matt Jorgensen, Mecca Khan, Megan Sullivan, Meredith Anderson, Miguel Torres, Mothman Mon Calamari, Nathan Poirot, Nick, Owen Marble, Patrick, definitely not a robot Coover, Patrick W. Bears, Race Jenkins, and Randy Pierce. Hey, there's no more Vanessa's mom on here. That's weird. Oh, wait, no, there's another page. Let me just go to the next page. Sorry about that. Wow, we have 2 pages of them. Resty Kamada, Robert M. Pullum, Robert T., Ross Hartley, Ryan Miller. Hey, it's Ryan Miller. Sam Harrison, Samu Mitchell, Sean Walsh, Stu Skeel, Tom, Tracy Tanoff, Tyler Petty, Vanessa's mom, Ward Childress, Wonder Swan, and Xavier Krieger. Thank you, everybody, so much. You're all
so appreciate it.
Amazing.
That's it. We did it.
All right. Send us an email. It's squarerootspodcast@gmail.com, or check out the Facebook group, the Square Roots podcast group for smart, cool, very attractive people, or tweet at us at SquareRootsPod, and Vanessa or I will probably get back to you at some point.
Eventually.
Our theme for this series is Ferdk's cover of Braveheart, the battle theme for Rogue Galaxy. Check out Ferdk's YouTube, Music on iTunes, Facebook page, and support Ferdk's music on their Patreon, patreon.com/Ferdk. Rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you screenshot your review and post in the Facebook group or Twitter, we'll tell you how you leveled up. For Square Roots, I'm John Brandon.
I'm Matthew Van Zant.
And I'm Vanessa.
Bye.
Yeah, it's bedtime for Johnny.
Bedtime for Nessa.